This is the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone, to the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Jon Solberg. Today, taking you back to May 15th, 2012, Robert Rainford of Food Network Canada's License to Grill stopped by for the first time. Talk a little bit about cooking and his new grilling cookbook. We're going to get to Robert in just a few minutes, but first, let's hear from Heath Hall. Heath is from Pork Barrel BBQ. Heath is talking about a rather interesting YouTube campaign that they were running back in 2012. Let's get to it.
Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, coming up on 14 past the hour, 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com are the two ways you can touch the show. First guest tonight, a fan favorite, along with his partner. They have amassed one of the most successful barbecue business conglomerates going right now. Their interests include barbecue rubs, sauces, made a number of TV appearances. They head up an award-winning barbecue competition cooking team. They are a very successful barbecue restaurant owners, created a brilliant new YouTube campaign called Can You Grill It? We'll race over to the hotline and bring a friend to the show. Barbecue maven Heath Hall from Pork Barrel BBQ. Heath, how are you, bud?
Good, man. How's it going, Greg?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Heath. Appreciate you making time for the show tonight. Lots of different places to go. So why don't we start just kind of how I ended with that new YouTube product that has been making its way across the interwebs. It's called Can You Grill It? To date, you have massacred such succulent items as a new iPad, an Android Razr smartphone, an Android tablet. Where did the concept come from, and what is the purpose behind it? Just to show how much money you people have and you're just throwing it all away on high-powered grills? I mean, what's the deal?
Well, basically, sitting around contests, and some night we're thinking, I wonder if you could grill this. I wonder if you could grill that. And it started out, with things like, could you grill a cake? Could you grill, like somebody's wedding cake? And then we started thinking, let's really go nuts here and see if we can grill things like an iPad, an iPhone, Android Razr. We've got 4 of them up. We just put up a 4th one today, which is the Kindle Fire. And yes, the Kindle Fire does catch fire. I don't know. It's really just a kind of a fun little thing to see what we can or can't grill, and we offer up if anybody has suggestions, please offer those up to us on our email porkbarrelbbq.com.
All right, so you are people to assume that this is something that you might eat? Are you just looking to see when burn points take hold on these certain electronic items? And I guess because I am, let's say, frugal, are these items being donated to you guys? I mean, you've easily rifled through almost like, $3,000 worth of high-end electronics that you probably figure are going to burn at some point. So are these being donated to you for this?
Well, eat them if you like. It's just like sometimes you were talking about pizza. And Mother's Day, maybe you tend to overcook the iPad and it's not real appetizing. No, we purchased these. The funniest thing I think about it was when we purchased them and we were offered the extended warranties. And you know how salespeople are trying to really pitch those extended warranties. And I was in a Staples buying actually the Amazon Kindle. And the person was really pitching it hard. You got to get this. We'll cover anything. I was like, you sure you'll cover anything? Oh, yeah, we'll cover anything. And finally, after I told him what I planned to do with it, he admitted that was not covered in the extended warranty. But no, it's we're just out there doing what we always do, trying to get a little buzz for Pork Barrel. We've had a couple of the videos up for a couple of weeks. We've already got over 20,000 views on those videos. Like I said, we put up a new one today. It's really a kind of a marketing scheme as we're doing all the time with things like Q, and just trying to get people aware of what we're doing and having some fun and trying to use a little kind of guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, so here we go. I'm kind of, as you're talking, I'm playing without any sound. Can you grill it? These look very professionally done. It's no surprise that both you and Brett are very comfortable in front of the camera because you've had a lot of experience in there. But it comes off very natural and almost like you are trying to put one over on the viewer. Is there a particular, we're watching the iPad here, is there a particular item that you have tried to grill that you have found particularly fascinating?
I will tell you that I think the best one that we've done so far, which we haven't put out yet, is the iPhone. I think that's going to be particularly interesting. I will say this. If you're an Apple user, congratulations. You have the most heat-resistant electronic products that we've tested anyway. The Apple, you can't really see it because of the sunlight, but we actually had them on during the grilling. And the apples really were up for several minutes before they malfunctioned, whereas some of the other ones, like the Samsung tablet, that thing was engulfed in flames within probably 25 seconds. So I'm not suggesting that you take your iPad to the grill tonight, but if you happen to, you probably have about a minute and a half to 2 minutes before it's totally screwed.
Yeah, so we're looking at right now the iPad, the new iPad, fully engaged in flame. It looked like the housing split apart pretty quickly after you set it down. It looked like also that you are using Kingsford briquettes. Does this give you some extra points advantage during that Kingsford competition that's going on this year?
I sure hope so. I mean, I haven't seen anybody else come close to doing, things with electronics with Kingsford that we have. So I'd really like to think that we might receive one of those big checks for, tablet, the category of maybe smartphone. We'll just have to see what Kingsford thinks. But I tell you, Kingsford does a great job with electronics.
Well, evidently, and we're just kind of seeing the finished product now. Looks like it's went from a white iPad to an all-black iPad all the way around with just hints of white left on it. So looked like it took some color from the smoke, charred very well, good grill marks. Some of the fat had rendered out,
That's
as you had mentioned.
That's the fat cap of the iPad.
Yeah, correct, the fat cap of the iPad. So all in all, it looked like this one was very successful for you guys. Did you hit it at all with that All-American rub before you put it on?
We debated whether to do that, and we didn't. And that's been one of the biggest comments with guys. Why didn't you sauce it? Why didn't you season it? And, we've got another round that we're about ready to go to. I will kind of tease them a little bit. They're not all going to be electronics. We've got other products besides electronics. Again, if you have ideas, send them our way. We're having some fun with it, and, want your input. So let us know.
All right, so that one is receiving 5 flames. So the iPad was pretty much a winner right out of the box, 5 out of 5, right?
Terrific. Yeah, like I said, good 2 minutes almost before it really died on us, whereas the other ones, you're talking 15, 20 seconds, they were gone. So whatever Apple is doing, they certainly must be grill testing them to get that nice 2 minute window in there for you to pull it off.
Heath Hall from Pork Barrel BBQ joining me here on the show. PorkBarrelBBQ.com is the website. Did I read that you and Brett were able to make a return trip back to the Shark Tank, or what was that all about?
Yeah, we were back on Shark Tank in March. We did a follow-up on the restaurant. Barbara came down and dressed up in the pig suit and surprised us during the video taping. Our good friend Kit Rudd of DeGuayo Barbecue here, you'll have to ask him sometime about what he did to Barbara. He thought that I was in the pig suit, and so he smacked what he thought was my butt, but it turned out it was Barbara Corcoran's butt.
Nice.
So that was a good one by Kit, but yeah, it was great. Shark Tank just got upped for a full season, 4th season next year, 22 episodes on ABC. It's as popular as it's ever been. Friday night, it's the #1 rated show on TV, and so we're thrilled. Obviously, the longer it's on the air, the more we get to benefit from that, and the more that entrepreneurs in general get to benefit from that. We've got a lot of friends we've made from the show whose companies have gone from a relatively elementary beginning stage to now full-fledged businesses that are very successful, are employing a lot of people, and it's really a great show. We're a perfect example of how it can really help you.
Now, I want to make sure, because there was a little bit of back and forth on my webpage of all places, that, you guys should not be mistaken for people that are lucky, that somehow you knew somebody that got you on or anything like that. This is ball-busting, ass-bending work that you guys have been putting into it, and certainly being on the show a catalyst, but this isn't something that you just lucked into.
No, we've worked our butts off to get to where we're at. Shark Tank, without question, moved us down the field a lot quicker than we would have moved without it. But to get on the show, we had already developed a very large following on Twitter, and that's how they found us. The producers found us through our social media presence, which we'd worked really hard to get.
To put in your request for a future show, please contact Jon Solberg via email at jon@thebbqcentralshow.com.
Tell me welcome. First timer into the Barbecue Central radio show jungle. Robert Rainford joins me. Robert, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, certainly my pleasure, Robert. And again, appreciate you making time for us here tonight. Robert, for the people that might not be as intimately familiar, look, there's like a sect of the show that is all barbecue and grilling all the time. This is what we do, and we know, you and Stephen Reichland and Ted Reeder and Dr. Barbecue, all these guys. But then there's an outer portion of the show, if you will, some of the novices, and they might not be as familiar with some of the people that I have on. So how about a quick little background about you? I mean, obviously, from what I read on Wikipedia, at least, not born and raised in Canada.
No, well, I'm born in Jamaica and raised in Toronto. But part of the barbecue culture is to adopt what you've seen as you've grown up, and that's basically what I did with my life. I went to George Brown College, learned a lot about food from the nuts and bolts perspective, and then, having a barbecue show, you get that opportunity to sort of really, truly explore the barbecue on a level that's, most people will never get to do in their complete life. But, you know what it's like. I love to cook.
Robert Rainford joining us here on the show. Jamaica is really known for their live fire, their open style pit cooking. Were you able to get back there after the fact and really do a lot of studying on, that style of barbecue or grilling versus what you see here in the States?
Oh, you know what? For sure. My wife and I have gone home and, well, not home for my wife, but home for me and my children. We got an opportunity to really look at it from a sort of a nuts and bolts perspective as well. And you know what? There's a thriving culture here in Toronto that does a lot of open air cooking and a lot of Jamaican style barbecuing. So, I had plenty of opportunity.
So given the experience that you have and all of this knowledge that you accumulated over the years since you've been in it, how do you find or what details in how the Jamaican style barbecue is versus something like that you're used to either in Canada or here in the States? What are some of the big differences that you see?
Well, the subtle differences are basically the spice components that go into a barbecue. I've worked on this for basically many, many years to perfect my jerk recipe, which is a marinade that I put on chicken and pork and fish and pretty much anything that I can feel that, it should go in. I even put it in barbecue sauces, like Southern barbecue sauces. I throw a teaspoon or a tablespoon worth of jerk in there. So it's one of those situations where, explore what you know, and put it into the things that work really well, and just play. That if you don't play on the barbecue, you're not doing your job out there. So you got to play, just experience different things and try different things. I do an authentic, Texas and North Carolina and Tennessee barbecue all the time because that's what we do up here in Canada. But you know what? If you want to get it to where you want it, you start playing with your own, what is inherent to you. So that's where I am, Jamaican, Canadian, American, whatever. I do it all.
How do you think doing that and graduating from, a technical background helps you in the barbecue and the grilling aspect now?
It helped me out immensely, the fact that I was able to sort of gained some life experiences before I came to the kitchen. I was not hired out of school based on my cooking acumen. It was based on the fact that I was a parent, old enough, someone who you could rely on to show up, and my eagerness to learn were the trifecta, the part of my existence that helped me to become the chef and the cook that I was. And I think, for anyone that's 18 years old, if you truly know what your passion is, just follow it. And for me, I kind of had to follow a different path for a little while, but once I found what I was truly going to make me happy in life, I followed it like a dog with a bone.
Now, you were probably most well-known, at least for a lot of us here in the States, because it showed here quite a bit with that License to Grill that was on the Food Network Canada. How do you view cooking shows today on TV? Not a lot of, let's say, chefs per se. Do you like that fact that it's like people like me that can get in front of a camera and they cook and they have some ideas? Or do you think that it cheapens the information being disseminated to the masses because they're not like technically trained chefs?
That's a you want to answer this question as politically correct as you possibly
Not
can.
Here on the internet, we don't, Robert. No way. Bring it, baby.
I love you, brother. I love you, brother. Let's answer the question this way. I believe that, personally speaking, that if you have a great culinary background and you have some personality, food is not an issue for you.
So if you go and find yourself on YouTube, or if I'm going to find your clips on YouTube, I mean, you were very outgoing. You seem like you would definitely be something that I would want to throw beers with or hope I was getting an invite to a barbecue or a grilling thing that you're having at your house. Did you have to work on being that gregarious and that friendly in front of a camera, or is it just natural for you?
Well, no, you know what? My first 6 episodes, if you watch them, you can tell that someone said, you know what, we're going to have to light a fire under your butt. And we're going to have to get you into a position where, we've got to get that inner passion, but we need you to show us that inner passion. And I didn't have that at the beginning. But, once I was told basically what the parameters were, how far could I stretch it, that's my personality is outgoing. But, you have to match the technical proficiency with the TV proficiency. And those things aren't congruent necessarily. So you've got to sort of build those two together, and then you can get to the point where you can have some fun. You never see anybody having fun unless they're technically proficient.
Robert Rainford joining us here on the show, author of Born to Grill. So let's go ahead and talk about that for a little bit, Robert. Last week, the book launched. How's it being received? Is the publisher happy? Everybody that's important thinking that this is a good thing so far a weekend?
Well, listen, I haven't had a lot of sleep in the last 10 days. I've been on the road, so I've been in Vancouver, Kelowna, Calgary. I just got home last night at got in at 11:45. My publisher, Random House, and Robert McCullough and the team are extremely ecstatic on where the sales are right now. We're in our second printing, and we haven't even really gone through the first wave of publicity for the book itself, or PR for the book. So, me personally, I'm ecstatic. I get an opportunity, and this is where the heartfelt part comes from. This was an odyssey for me for 2 years, designing this book, writing it, making sure that this was a true reflection of who I am as a person. Writing it in a menu form as opposed to just putting out a series of recipes where people can sort of look and match. I've got 5 recipes per menu. I've got 20 menus, which means I've got over 100 recipes in the book. This is a true reflection of who and what I am and where I am right now in my existence. I think where those things all meet up, like inspiration and perspiration means success, I've got it.
It's a unique layout to a book. Is that something that you had to hard sell to the publisher because it wasn't like a lot of the other cookbooks and chef-authored books that you see out there, or were they totally on board from Jump Street?
It was not a hard sell. I was, when I sat down with the publisher and they looked at me and we sat across the table from each other, and I said, listen, I've got this idea. And I really want to know, like, if it works for you, it works for you. But if it doesn't, I was going to go wherever it was going to be a success, because I believed in the menu-driven recipe. Because everybody I speak to out on the street, when they meet up on me, they go, listen, man, love your recipes, but, like, when I'm having a dinner party, what other things can I put with that? Here you go. I've laid it out for you. Even if you don't want to follow each menu, you can pick and choose and create 5 different things that you can put into a menu. And remember, we're dudes, okay? And dudes, we can have protein with protein with protein with more protein, and we don't even need a vegetable.
And there it is, from May 15th, 2012. Keith Hall, Pork Barrel BBQ, Robert Rainford, grilling cookbook author and TV personality. A lot more to both of these interviews. Head on over to thebbqcentralshow.com and check it out. While you're at the bbqcentralshow.com homepage, if you haven't already, please do me a favor, subscribe to the Barbecue Central Show via podcast. Never miss an episode of the Barbecue Central Show or the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less again. Until next time, I'm your host, Jon Solberg. I thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you again soon.